Call order the November City Council meeting for Steve McGuire. Hey Ryan, pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kangas.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Karki. Councilmember Becker. Councilmember Howard.
Yep.
Councilmember Ilmanen. Councilmember Floyd.
Here. Okay, number 4, approval of agenda. Get a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Smith. Second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Against? Okay. Number 5, public comment. 3-minute limit, so participate in public comment. Feel free to stand to the podium and state your name and address, and you got 3 minutes.
Stephanie Robar, Croy Street. I just had I know we're addressing the cemetery, budget adjustment, and just curious, based on previous meetings, the city manager, myself, Mark Davatilla, and then several other just private citizens met at the cemetery this summer regarding the removal of the white pine species. The original budget proposal, which was approved for the tree removal in the amount of $19,200, I can see is adjusted here, less $535, was talked about at that time, just as an adjustment to Mark specifically stated that the amount that was approved, we couldn't, essentially by pivoting to not exterminating the white pine species, we still had to honor a portion of the contract with Kipstow Tree Service, but that we didn't have to honor the entire contract amount, that we could do a lesser amount and still basically be within the parameters of the accepted bid. So I'm a little bit surprised to see that the bid is still that high, and that's what we're requesting from the general fund, given the conversation previous, and Mark's statements in that regard. The city manager might be able to speak a little bit more to that when you guys get to that agenda item, but just kind of questioning, do we really need that much? Especially if we now have a deficit within the perpetual care fund. Do we really need that much more approved tonight during the general fund if we're not going to be removing, well, basically exterminating the white pines, and adjusting to the removal of trees that actually need to be removed? So would really appreciate some dialogue around that and an update. Thank you.
Anyone else with public comment? Once, twice? Close public comment? Were you going to step up? Amanda?
No?
Oh, okay, you adjusted yourself, I lied.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, close public comment. Okay, number 6, presentation, economic development plan. So, we have someone to the presentation, I understand?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, we have Christopher Germain, the Executive Director of the Lake Superior Community Partnership, on the phone with us this evening, who will be going through the presentation of the Economic Development Strategy Plan, Voyager Venture.
Excuse me, Mr. Manager, you unmute us if you can hear
Sure.
us.
We had hired we hired LSCP as the firm who will be putting this plan together for us and setting up all the meetings and conducting all that type of activity. So here he is this evening to present the findings of that report. I believe we started doing this early early spring. And just a reminder, we paid for 25% of this plan, and then we were able to receive a grant from the MEDC to cover the other 75% of that. This comes on the tail end of our soon-to-be former and ending economic development plan moving forward, which was a 5-year plan as well, adopted by the council. After Mr. Germain's presentation, we'll be looking for the council to adopt this plan to put on file, and then we'll begin our work underneath this plan. Mr. Germain is on the phone. I'm hoping he can hear us. Chris, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you good.
There he is on TV, so. All right, Mr. Mayor, your pleasure.
Okay, Chris, take it away from here and, let's see what you got to say.
Sure, sounds good, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, hey everyone, good to see you all tonight. Thanks for your flexibility with me. I had to go down to Midland tonight. Sorry I can't be there in person. But I don't have a full-fledged presentation for you, more so than some comments I want to share with you about the process and the plan itself, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you do have. I think Nate covered some of the basics already, but just, that what you have in front of you tonight in terms of the four-year adventure is your updated economic development strategy. We use the word strategy actually specifically in our files as plan with strategy because it's flexible that way, right? So a plan typically will be very rigid, you can still kind of adjust it, but strategies take everything that you have at the time, right? The data, the feedback, sometimes just like gut feelings, right, that you have, and put those into a strategy as to where you want to prioritize over the next 5 years. So what you have in front of you is that four-year adventure economic development strategy. So it's a roadmap, right, which I think is a really important piece to keep in mind. As I think Nate also mentioned, you are required to have an economic development strategy to maintain your RRC certification status. So your last one was done 5 years ago. RRC looks at about every 5 years or so, those things are updated. But what was interesting about this one is instead of doing a full update, which would have made a significantly longer document, we kind of determined that a lot of the foundation in that moving forward plan was still applicable, and so the plan you have in front of you is only approximately about 20 pages, or strategy, excuse me, only about 20 pages, which helps keep the cost down, but it also sets the city up to maybe do a much bigger update 5 years from now when you really hit that 10-year marker going forward. There's a couple of new things in here that I want to highlight. Number one, if you go to page, I believe it's 13 on there, you'll see that different than the last plan is what we call focus areas. So before in the moving forward plan, you had just one table at the end. It highlighted, I think, 8 or 9 items and just said, cool, like, do these things. We decided that we need a little bit more direction, a little bit more categorization going forward. And so we've identified, based on conversations with the steering committee, based on feedback from the public, and I think most importantly, based on your other existing plans already, 6 key areas that we're calling focus areas. Number one is facilitating industrial development. That one was new. We threw it in there in the initial list, and it came out as one of the top 6. That one ultimately looks at, in the next 5 years, having some concrete actions in the city to determine, quite frankly, whether additional industrial development makes sense for the city, right? So it's really focusing for the next 5 years, getting some of those studies done, collecting some of that data, and thinking about some of that policy and that strategy as to whether the city is competitive and able to attract those types of jobs. The second focus area is around enhancing neighborhoods and housing choices. This is really, you have to have this in any sort of economic development strategy or any master plan, actually, based on a bill the governor signed the other day. So looking at housing choices within the city, making sure that you're having diverse housing options, but most importantly, I think for any community in Marquette County right now, tapping into all of the existing countywide housing resources that are there, and making sure that we are trying to alleviate what is, quite frankly, one of the biggest barriers to growth and economic prosperity in Marquette County, which is the inability for folks to find housing at all income levels. So you have that as your second focus area. The third one is around supporting existing businesses, and I think this one was really intentional, so I want to call it out in the sense that a lot of economic development strategies focus on entrepreneurship, folks who want to start new businesses. There's tons of resources for that, but there are fewer resources for businesses that already exist, and helping them grow and turn into their next stage of growth So the steering committee decided to explicitly focus on that area. So that vision around there is really just working with the businesses who are currently in Negaunee, helping them feel supported by the city, helping make sure that the city is bringing the right tools and resources to the table through partners like the LSCP or even some of those entrepreneurial organizations like Innovate Marquette and Northern Initiatives and SBDC and all those folks. Make sure that businesses in the city of Negaunee are able to access those services easily and understand where to go from there. The fourth one is around investing in city infrastructure. This one really just talks about having a stronger and smarter infrastructure that supports the businesses and residents alike. The city has done a really incredible job at investing in its roads and sewer and water. And that came out actually in our last steering committee meeting when almost all of the infrastructure conversation was around recreation infrastructure. Most other cities that we work in or that I worked in my previous job with DMEDC, it was about roads and water and sewer. And so the fact that that is already underway and people can feel that puts you a step ahead of a lot of other communities, but you're not quite done. It's still important to focus on that infrastructure going forward. And then the last two, one is developing the US 41 corridor. This again was an intentional decision. Folks felt like the downtown was really thriving and seeing major significant investment in recent years. But the US 41 corridor, it was time to maybe pay a little bit more attention to that corridor in specific. So that's a much deeper topic. So the real takeaway from having a focus area around there is that we'll look at opportunities and maybe do a little bit of follow-up there. But most importantly, we're hoping to do a corridor strategy sometime next 5 years to really dive into that corridor and understand what it might need to thrive and to grow as a business corridor. And then the final one is capturing those outdoor recreation opportunities. And so there's obviously a ton of work happening in the county around outdoor recreation, but the city has done a great job to this point of helping folks who are on those trails or using those outdoor recreation opportunities to come to Negaunee and spend additional money and time, and in some cases maybe even move to the city. So we felt it was appropriate to have a focus area around those outdoor recreation opportunities. If you go to the following page after that, if you guys have a copy of it on page 15, you will see a table that does look very similar to your moving forward strategy, but obviously has different actions and items in there. And so we rank things on high, medium, and low in terms of priority and efforts. And that way we weren't necessarily prioritizing a specific order of things, but it might depend on what capacity it looks like or what grant opportunities come about as to which ones you can pursue in which order. So simply identifying who the lead was, who some of those partners were, and then these handful of actions, about a dozen actions over the next 5 years that are all related to those 6 focus areas you saw going forward. So nothing in here, again, I think should feel like it's totally out of the blue. It all came from steering committee conversations and public engagement sessions, as well as other existing plans that the city has. It was an attempt to make an actionable table based on those 6 focus areas. And then the last thing I want to mention, I'm happy to take any questions you might have, but is the engagement piece of it as well. So economic development strategies are interesting, and they're not legally required documents. So you don't have to have them. It's wise to have them. Again, if you're going to maintain your RRC certification status, you need to have one. But despite not being required to have one, and so there's no legal realities around having to have particular types of engagement with the public, we had a steering committee that was well balanced. We had 2 public engagement sessions, and I think the piece that gets overlooked a little bit is, again, those ties to the other existing plans, which did have open houses and surveys, and there is such a thing as survey fatigue and input fatigue, and so we felt like we were probably teetering right on the edge of that. So instead of doing a whole other dedicated effort with this plan, we pulled from those other efforts that are either currently ongoing or are incredibly recent, and that data is still really valid. So ultimately, like I said, the document gives you these actions, it gives you these tools and resources, and meets all of the RSC best practices that are in there. We've already run it by the Redevelopment Ready Communities team and Pablo, your planner, so we've gotten a thumbs up from them that it looks good. You have in the appendix all the data that you could need, you have all that public engagement in that document as well. So ultimately, where you're at, if you as a city council feel like it meets your needs, you're ready to really move towards that adoption phase. But at this point, I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna have you take whatever questions you have.
So, have any questions for Chris? So with that, Chris, thank you for the, brief rundown of what, this, we got here in our hands, the development strategy. So I guess with that, Jeremy, we just go for,
Yeah, if you want to, pass a resolution to adopt the strategy, put it in the file, that would be appropriate.
okay, so, make a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to adopt the economic development plan, as briefed.
Okay, and a second, Toby. Any comment, Craig?
No, sir.
Toby?
You know, we were well served by the previous plan we had in place, and I think this just, continues on down a path to continually improve upon what we have here in Nagani, so I'm in favor of having this, strategy roadmap in place and just continue with that improvement.
Okay, thank you. Kevin? Matt?
No.
Okay, so with that, roll call. Guys, roll call.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Ilmenin,
Yes.
Councilmember Flowey,
Yes.
Mayor Kangas.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Chris, have a good evening.
Hey, Chris.
All right, you guys appreciate it.
Okay, so number 7, unfinished business. Number 8, new business. 8.1, 2025 city budget resolution. So I guess with that, we have fees and such, pulling right here, we had the budget session, all that, everything pretty much comes out square, so I just need a motion to adopt the resolution.
Make a motion to approve the budget resolution so
Okay.
presented.
Second? Okay, Kevin, okay. Okay, that's, yeah, any comment, Toby?
Nope. We've been through this, several periods of comment, I think we're good to go.
Okay, Kevin? Craig?
No, sir.
Matt?
I guess you could have saved some money off of that thing, so. Yeah.
Councilmember Howard,
Nay.
Councilmember Ilmenin,
Yes.
Councilmember Flowey,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Kangas.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
8.2, financial policies. Just read these off.
Yes.
Okay, fiscal policy, fee schedule, and capital improvement resolution. So,
We approve these as a bundle.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal policy, fee schedule, and capital improvement resolution.
okay, Toby, a second,
Second item.
Greg? Okay, Toby, anything?
Again, we've been through, these schedules and, capital improvement listings a couple times now, had periods for public comment. The overall increases on the fee schedule are, nominal at best, so I think we as citizens are done well by the city in this situation.
Okay, Greg?
When Toby says something in front of me, I have nothing to say. 'cause-
He does cover the bases. Okay, Kevin, you got anything?
Same story.
Okay, Matt?
Are we raising this because we need money now, or are we gonna bank this extra money? Is it, like, where is it gonna go?
That's- I guess,
So we traditionally, either don't raise fees or we do raise fees where they need to be. They are to cover expenses for the ensuing year. It isn't because we need money now, this will be for the next fiscal year, 2025, which starts in January.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that, roll call please.
Councilmember Ilmenin,
Yes.
Councilmember Flowey,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes?
Councilmember Howard,
Nay.
Mayor Kangas.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Okay, now 8.3 cemetery perpetual care invoices budget adjustment. Do we have-
At the October 24th special meeting, the council approved the deficit elimination plan with the state of Michigan for the Cemetery Perpetual Care Fund for 2023. The function of a perpetual care fund is to account for funds where only the interest earnings may be used. Earlier this year, the council approved bids for tree removal in the amount of $15,641.27 and doors in the amount of $18,665. To be paid out of the Cemetery Perpetual Care Fund before it was known that the fund was in a deficit. Council approval is needed to make these payments in the amount of $34,306.27 with a budget adjustment to the general fund with a drawdown of the fund balance.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the payments, clarifying that the $15,000 payment was for Wolverine door and the $18,000 was for the tree service.
Okay, I get a second.
Second.
Greg? Okay, Toby, comment?
No, I mean, the work has already been performed. At this point, this is simply procedural to make sure these vendors get paid. As stated earlier, our cemetery, our perpetual care fund, these, expenses are not eligible for reimbursement from that, so fund it is.
Greg?
Nothing further?
Kevin? Matt?
Well, the work has been done, so we gotta pay the bill, I guess, but it seems, why didn't we know we were in deficit? That kinda seems like a pretty straightforward question, ain't it? Spend 36,000, whatever.
Let me answer the question.
Okay, one, got that?
So we've been spending money out of that fund. It's not supposed to be spent out of that fund, so it's considered a deficit. So now we had to return money from the general fund to replenish that money because we should have never taken money from that fund. So it's not as we didn't have money, it was just taken out of the wrong pot.
Are we paying contractors or are we just switching money around?
Well, we paid contractors, Mr. Mayor, and we are now eliminating that deficit because by state law, you cannot have a deficit and a fund balance. So it's just a procedural thing.
Thank you.
Good, so, I mean,
Okay,
to,
Greg.
if I may, what we're doing here, the bills have already been paid. Right, we just, essentially, we don't use the funds as perpetual care fund, right, only for the interest accrued through that fund. We used it in a manner in which it wasn't supposed to be used, therefore we're righting our wrongs by it. So, bills are paid, we're just righting our wrongs by reimbursing that fund, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ed, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Flowey,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Ilmenin,
Yes.
Mayor Kangas.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Now on to 8.4, Michigan Arts and Culture Grant Award Resolution. Sorry.
Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Sure.
yes. I could have said that.
Whereas the city of Negaunee has secured funding through the Michigan Arts and Culture Council Experience Support Grant Program to provide 2 mural grants to Stregonona and Love and Bicycles. And whereas the grant funding requires that city of Negaunee accept the grant funding and provide said grant funding to Stregonona and Love and Bicycles once their murals are complete. And whereas the city of Negaunee submitted a grant request to the MAC and was awarded $12,000. And whereas the grant term is from October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. And whereas there is a requirement for matching funds which will be funded by Stregonona and Love and Bicycles. Therefore, be it resolved that the Negaunee City Council hereby authorizes the city manager to enter into an agreement with MAC, Stregonona, and Love and Bicycles to provide grants to Stregonona and Love and Bicycles as outlined in the grant agreement between the city, Stregonona, and Love and Bicycles. Be it further resolved that the city manager of the city of Negaunee is authorized to sign all forms, assurances, contracts, agreements, renewals, and future amendments for monetary and contract language adjustments related to the above upon review and or preparation of civil counsel.
Okay, so that thing, any motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as read.
Okay, Kevin? And Kitty, a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any comment, Kevin? Okay, Greg?
I think just it's gonna add to the beautification of town, right? We're gonna have these businesses that are willing to invest in the facade, if you will. It's just I'm pretty sure that we really need to see once those are complete.
Matt?
I got nothing, Dave.
Toby?
Yeah, we're just, we're just a pass-through in this situation, so the fact that we were able to find this money to be utilized in the downtown, I think is great. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it also, because I know that both those businesses will put that money to fine use and just add that much more to the beautification downtown Negaunee. So, with that, Dan, I get a roll call vote.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Howard,
Nay.
Councilmember Ilmenin,
Yes.
Councilmember Flowey,
Yes.
Mayor Kangas.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
8.5, MDARD Grant Resolution.
Whereas the city of Negaunee supports the submission of an application titled Hungerford Sewer Line Replacement 2025 to the MDARD RD Grant Program for the replacement of critical sewer infrastructure. And whereas city of Negaunee is hereby making a financial commitment to the project in the amount of $480,000 in matching funds in cash and or forced account. And now therefore be it resolved that the Negaunee City Council hereby authorizes submission of an MDARD RD application for $100,000 and further resolves to make available its financial obligation amount of $480,000 of a total of $580,000 project cost during the 2025 fiscal year.
So with that, can I get a motion, or do you start?
I'll make a motion
Matt?
that we approve the draw number 19 and amount of $4,100.
No, we're on the res,
We're on
well,
the-
before that.
We're on 85.
Oh,
8.5.
Yeah, put it
I
on, yeah.
didn't even get that one. I never seen it. Sorry, I'm withdrawing my motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, Toby? A second?
Second.
Greg? Okay, Toby? myself, I don't say either, it's a project, it's taking care of an issue which has been an issue for a while, so let's get her done, so, yeah, get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Ilmenin,
Yes.
Councilmember Flowey,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Kangas.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, now we got 8.6, excuse me. Draw number 19 USDA Phase 1 Water Project.
This is just an approval of the amount to $4,170.94 to UP Engineers for the Phase 1 Water Project.
Yeah, we're just paying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yes,
But I'll need a roll call on that.
yeah, exactly, yes. Okay, get a motion?
I'll make that motion, Dave, that we approve draw number 19 in the amount of $4,170.94 for UP Engineers.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Can I get a second? Kevin? Okay, comment, Matt?
Work that's gotta be done.
Okay, Kevin?
Nothing further.
Okay. Greg? Okay. Well, I got nothing either. Guys did a good job, so I'll pay him up. So with that, and if I get a roll call in this case.
Councilmember Ilmenin,
Yes.
Councilmember Flowey,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Kangas.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, now we're down to number 9, consent agenda. 9.1, minutes, October 10th, 2024, regular minutes, October 24th, 2024, special minutes. 9.2, claims and accounts. 9.3, revenue expenditure estimated trial balances. 9.4, Board of Review appointments. 9.5, delinquent utilities to the tax rolls. 9.6, Marquette County grant agreements to purchase SVC Senior Center. Get a motion on the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Okay. A second? Kevin? Okay, let's do roll call again, huh?
Councilmember Flowey,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Ilmenin,
Yes.
Mayor Kangas.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Okay, number 10, we're back down to the second public comment for the evening, so public comment, you got 3 minutes, so feel free to stand up to the podium, state your name and your address, and you got 3 minutes. You can make this meeting fast. Okay, with that, I'm closing public comment. Okay, I got fire signature first. Don't mind me. Okay. Okay, so we're down to number 11, council members, so, let's start with you, turn, Matt.
I guess good luck to all the hunters.
Okay, thank you. Greg?
Excuse me. Good turnout last week for New County. First time we had a general election at the middle school, so, you know, things seem to go pretty smooth. We got some new council members coming on, some leaving. Toby, it's gonna be tough seeing you leave and having your number knowledge, but, yeah, I think, looking forward to next couple of years, and we're on the right path here.
Thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, I just wanna, say good luck to all those that are heading out into the woods, for deer hunting season, and, wish safe travels to anyone who's traveling for Thanksgiving and Christmas next month. And also, I'm really looking forward to, Tinseltown next month.
Thank you. Toby?
I'm looking forward to Tinseltown too. I don't have to walk in the parade this time.
Let's throw candy at you.
No, my last meeting, it's been a fun 3 years, and I think we got a lot accomplished here, so, I look to the remaining council members and to the incoming council members to keep the progress within the city going and, keep us moving in the right direction.
Thank you. For myself, I want to welcome the new oncoming council members. Greg, got the seat warm for you for a couple of years, so it's yours for a couple of years, bud. And Toby, we've been on councils before together, and you've been an invaluable source to me. And I've always appreciated you giving your input and your insight on things for which, yeah, I'll flat out say it, confused me. You helped me out, bud, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank the city staff for helping me out, and the questions for which, more questions for which go on, I can't answer myself, but, Ann's been invaluable. Mr. Pickens, been a very good source of information for me, did a good job for me not getting the city sued, like I said back in 2013. And Mr. Heffer, I want to thank you for your knowledge and input. And it's been fun being mayor the past couple of years. And I hope I've done a good job, that I represented the city of Negaunee in a good way. And if I didn't, well, it wasn't my intention. But I got a few things here I'd like to mention though before I close up shop here for myself. There's seems to be a little bit of confusion the past year or two about meetings and such, and maybe as myself as mayor, maybe I haven't been helpful enough in getting information to people. I don't know, but I just think it's worth mentioning. Like, there's the word transparency, that's different definitions for different people. But per our city charter, like says, well, when meetings are, well, by like meetings throughout the year. Like by law, within 10 days of the first meeting of the council in each calendar year or the fiscal year, a posting of the regular council meetings, including dates, times, and places, will be posted on bulletin boards at City Hall, the back door of the senior center, or on the city website. So there's information out there. It can be a little tricky at times for some. I can speak for myself, but information is out there. And some, I've heard things like sometimes there might not be enough information for the community. Well, every meeting date, time, and place is readily posted on the city website, like I said earlier. This indicates meetings for the Park and Rec Division, Planning Commission, the DDA, Water Authority Board, etc. There's ample information for the public to get into and to find out things on. So it's there, but it's only for those who choose to find out information and be informed on it. I've heard once before, there's too many meetings. Well, I thought the public wanted us to be transparent. A little confused on that one. There's not enough notice given for special meetings, I heard a few times. Well, per city charter, special meetings shall be called on a written request of the mayor, city manager, or any 3 council members. At least 6 hours written notice shall be given to each council member with a notice stating the reason for the meeting. And it's one thing's kind of a interesting one. People think we pencil whip agenda items. Well, we don't just get these packets 10 minutes prior to a meeting. We get these packets 10 days prior to a meeting, and each one of these agenda items are gone through thoroughly by city staff, city attorney, contractors, etc. Now, this process is done for the benefit of all city residents, not just a select few. It's about getting the best information from the correct sources, for which is a big thing that I believe in, because I like getting good information from good sources. So, I don't know if that meant anything, but I just wanted to get a few of those things, and hopefully maybe clear things up, I don't know. But again, I say thank you for letting me have the honor to be your mayor for the past 2 years, and with that, I'll turn it over to Nate.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council. I just have a few items. First, you may have received this in your mailbox. All residents were mailed this. Giant flyer, and it's quite large, obviously. We want people to be able to see it. Some people have vision issues like me sometimes. So in this, we have our Phase 1 water project. We talk about our Dig Once philosophy. We talked about the project itself, and we showed what we did during that project on one of these maps. And on the other side, we show a map of the proposed project. I say proposed because it has not been approved by the council. It's still being engineered as we speak, and it still has to be financed through different means. Additionally, we added in here our water loss and sewer infiltration. Water loss is what we're losing through cracks in our pipes, old pipes. Infiltration is what we have sucking in from the groundwater, which we're processing at the sewer treatment plant unnecessarily. So that's why we want to reduce those two numbers, so we're not wasting taxpayer dollars. In addition to that, we also published our rates for our water meter fees, our sewer base rates, and then our usages. And as you can see, since 2018, if you receive this form and you go home and look at it, we have barely raised our rates over the past few years from 2018 to 2024. Our goal is to keep the fund solvent without gouging the residents. And I think we have done a great job of doing that, showing that our rates have not increased astronomically. Some of our sister communities have had major increases in their utilities. So this just gives a lot of information for folks out there wanting to know more about what we intend on doing with our water and our sewer systems within the next 2 years. Hopefully the project will start in 2026 and end in 27. And with that, we'll additionally get some additional streets paved as well. I also want to mention a couple dates to remember. November 20th, we'll be having a Vista Theater project input session from 6 to 7 at the Upper Peninsula Brewery. We'll also be doing that on the 4th from 6 to 7. And we're holding one more session, which we just published today, on December 5th from 5 to 7 at the Negaunee Senior Center. Council members have been invited to, and those who have not been invited will be invited once they become council members, or Amanda, you're welcome to attend if you want. We'll have Ann get a hold of you since you won't be able to be there on this. We're going to do a walk through the Vista Theater on November 25th at 6 p.m. Make sure you dress warm. It will be cold. You can bring a flashlight if you'd like. We're just going to show where we're at in that area. And then lastly, as mentioned before, December 14th, we have our Tinseltown celebration, which will be from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock on that Saturday. So I hope you will all be in attendance to that, and you're welcome to walk in the parade if you'd like. Update on the electric outdoor issue that we had last meeting. We did get approval from the Iron Ore Heritage Trail Authority to move forward and sign an additional contract with them to extend out to June 1st. There was a report given to the health department about the potential of gray water being disposed on the property improperly. That came to be unfounded. However, the issue has been corrected and the outlet has been capped. What was happening, just in case you hear this out in the public, was this is supposed to be a self-sustaining operation. Power, no sewer lines, no water lines. So what they were attempting to do was using a machine similar to an air conditioner to suck moisture from the air and produce water and see if that's a possibility. It is possible, but we don't know. They're testing this out. It's a facility they're testing. So no gray or polluted water was being discharged onto the property. So it has been corrected for the health department at their standards, in case you hear that. In addition, I want to mention that I had put in my report that we had an ice arena agreement for a storage unit. However, that had to be pulled at the last minute at the request of the Iron Range Hockey Association. They have their attorney reviewing that a little bit more closely, and then we hope to bring that back in December, and we'll talk more about that issue when we get to that juncture. And then lastly, I just want to mention this award that was bestowed to myself, but more importantly, I think this award was actually bestowed to the community. Without me being in my position and the work that this council and business folks in our community, working with the city, this award would have never been given to me. So I really see this as an award for the entire community. It was given to me at the West End Economic Business Hub for the Lake Superior Community Partnership for Small Business Champion for Marquette County. So what a great honor for our community to have this. We are working hard to help our businesses, grow our businesses in our community, and I think we've done a great job. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, that is a big deal for the community, yes. Okay, Mr. City Attorney?
Okay, give me the last word, Mayor. Just briefly, these November meetings are always a little sad for me, because I really like working with the council. Every council is a little unique, and it's not gonna be the same again, kind of like the end of a baseball season or something, if it's coach them. But we've had a couple bumps in the road, but I've been so impressed with this council and everybody on it, willing to work through them. Mayor, calling with questions when you want to know a little bit more. I would encourage everybody to continue to do that. I know everybody on this council's heart is in the right place. Everybody here loves this community very much, and I see that every day. So I'm looking forward to working with the next council, and hope everybody who goes out hunt is nice and safe. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with that, can I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Toby, a second. Craig, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.